Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the lab on point-to-point connections. So these are the objectives of this lecture: configuring the HDLC encapsulation, then PPP encapsulation, and troubleshooting. So what is point-to-point serial communications? Point-to-point connections are used to connect LANs to service provider. So a local area network can be connected to the ISP provider, or two different local area networks at different locations, geographically different locations, can be connected together by point-to-point connections. Example, the office in Dubai, office in Bahrain can be connected by the point-to-point connections. Or a local area network connected to the wide area network through the ISP provider through the point-to-point connections. So when, for example, you can see this a local area network, and this one is another local area network. These two local area network, let us assume they are connected to the wide area network. Okay, let's say this is a ISP provider. So this is, let us say this is a wide area network. So in the wide area network, let's say there are two routers. Between the two routers, okay, there is a serial connection, and let us say we can configure the point-to-point connections here. And also there is a point-to-point connection between these two routers, and also between these two routers. So when any packet from the local area network passes through the router into the wide area network, okay, through into the point-to-point connections, that packet would be encapsulated. Some additional information would be added into the packet. Okay, so the packet would be prepared in such a manner that is recognized in the point-to-point connection using a protocol called HDLC. So HDLC is the default protocol. So data is encapsulated into frames before crossing the WAN link. So when the packet, okay, enters the WAN network, okay, it will be encapsulated using the HDLC protocol. HDLC is the default one. So if you go here, show, okay, interface is E2/0, that is the interface, serial interface. You can see the encapsulation is HDLC, that is the default one. The alternative to the HDLC is PPP protocol. Okay, so HDLC doesn't have authentication. Let's say these two routers, they are connecting, establishing the point-to-point connection, and the packets, okay, are encapsulated by the HDLC, and the encapsulated frames pass through this connection. But when these two routers establish a connection, point-to-point connection, there is no authentication between them. So the alternative to the HDLC is called PPP protocol, triple P protocol, that supports the authentication. So the main focus of today's lab session is discussing how to configure the HDLC, then how to configure the PPP protocol, and then how to configure the authentications, okay, such as PAP and Chap, PAP and CHAP in the under the PBB protocol. So, so now you have to configure a topology like this. So these are the IP addresses, okay, and this is the table. So you can see the table and configure the IP address. Okay, so PC IP address, so these are the IP addresses. Okay, then after you configure the IP address, okay, for example, let's say for SE2/0 interface of this router R1, this is the IP address. So suppose you don't know how to configure the IP address, that I can show you. So interface SE2/0, okay, IP address 10.1.1, okay, subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. So /30 means 252. So if you are not clear, I have given here in this topology. Okay, then no shutdown. So this is how you configure the IP for all the interfaces. So FA/0/0, this is the IP address 192.168.10.1, and here in the router R2 SE2/0, this is the IP address 10.1.1.2/30. Then SE3/0 10.2.2.1/30. 30 means this is a subnet mask, and SE9/0, this is the IP address, okay, and SE9/0, this is the IP address. This is the ISP provider, okay. So for example, let me go here, okay, once again I can show you this. For example, interface SE9/0 IP address 209.165.200.226. Okay, then subnet mask, no shutdown. Okay, so this is how you configure all the IP address for all the interface, as well as you configure the IP for PC1 as well as PC0 also. And then this router 3, so it has two interfaces, SE3/0 10.2.2.2/30. 30 means subnet mask is this, and another interface is FA0/0 192.168.30.1 24 means this is the subnet mask. And also let me make it very clear. Suppose /30 means the wildcard is 0.0.0.3, and if suppose 24 means the wildcard is 0.0.0.255. Okay, now once you've done this, what you have to do is, suppose you don't have enough, for example, here you need 3 serial interface. If you don't have enough space, then you go here and just put this. Okay, before that, you have to switch on, switch off, clear. Okay, so I switch off this and then just put it here. Okay, and then switch on. So when you do that, automatically you will get additional serial interface. Okay, so once you've done that, you are supposed to configure the OSPF protocol. So let me show that. Okay, so you have to go to router OSPF 1. So this particular router has two interfaces, okay, SE2/0 and FAS0/0. So these are the two IP addresses. So corresponding network address you have to give here. So network, okay, so network 10.1.1.0 wildcard 0.0.0.3. I have told you if it is /30 means, okay, students, /30 means this is the wildcard mask. Okay, how to calculate? You can see wildcard is equal to subnet mask minus, sorry, 255, 255, 255 minus subnet mask would give you the wildcard mask. Okay, so now the incomplete because I didn't mention the area. Then network, okay, then second one is 192.168.10.1 10.0. Wildcard is 255, area 0. Okay, so now we have configured the OSPF for this. Okay, then go to the router R2. Okay, so in the R2 config T, okay, router OSPF, process ID is 1. Okay, then network. So please don't add this the network at the top. Okay, that we will give as a default route. So just add this network 10.1.0 and 10.2.2.0. This one let us give as a default route. It's nothing wrong in giving this also, but let us give as a default route. Okay, because as per the lab manual. Network 10.1.1.0 wildcard mask /30 means 0.0.0.3. Okay, so what is the mistake? Area 0, and then network, okay, 10.2.2.0 wildcard is this. Okay, so I told you to skip this at the top. Okay, you have to skip this at the top and then come down to this router. So let's configure the default route also in the router R2 now itself. So come out, exit, okay, and so you have to say IP route. Suppose, see, you are not giving this in the dynamic OSPF routing. So if you are not giving this network, what happens is that this router and this router, they have no information about this network. So from here, you can't ping this interface, the ISP interface, this one. You can't ping this. Okay, am I clear? So what we are going to do is we are going to configure something called static. We are going to configure default route. So how to configure the default route? You are telling 0.0.0 any network, any wildcard mask. Okay, please forward to SE9/0. So what you are telling is See, this router R1 and R3 or any router, if they receive any packet and if for that particular packet there is no path available in the routing table, then that packet should be forwarded to the R2, and in the R2 through the SE9/0 interface it should be sent out. It should be forwarded out. So that's what we are telling. IP route, any network address, any wildcard mask which should be forwarded to SE9/0. And then what we have to do, now we are configuring in the R2, right? In the R2 we are configuring. So we want to send this information to the R1 as well as R3. So we have to include that in the OSPF. So again we go to router OSPF 1 and we say default information originate. Okay, so now R2 will send these informations, default route informations to R1 and R3. So now let's go to R3 and configure the OSPF. Okay, config T and then network. Okay, router OSPF 1 and you have to add network 10.2.2. Wildcard mask is this area 0. Oh, I made a mistake. So now I put the IP address instead of network ID. So I should come here, put 0. Now this is correct. Okay, 10.2.2.0. This is perfect now. Okay, now network. Okay, 192.168.30.0, 0.0.0.255, area 0. Okay, so we have added, we have configured the OSPF now. Now go to this and you have to configure the static routing here, because this you have to say from here, if you want to reach any network, so please forward that through SE9/0. So come here. So it's a command IP route 00000 SE9/0. So you are telling any packet should be sent to this interface, through this interface. Okay, then only from here PC0 you can ping this ISP provider. Okay, so please do this. Now after you do this, you try to ping, okay, from PC0, try to ping PC1. So students, please check the pinging after configuring the routing protocols. So it's pinging perfectly, and also like so it's pinging. and also please ping this IP address, ping 209.165.200.226. So we are able to ping. So this is a basic lab setup that we are going to use for discussing the HDLC, PPP, and Chap and Pap protocols. So first you have to create this topology on your own. So once this topology is successful, then let us go into the configuration of the HDLC, PAP, everything. Okay.